Hi guys, I'm Kat and welcome back to my channel. I haven't said that in a really long time, and I think it's because I haven't had, and I say this like in almost every video I make lately, that I just don't have the motivation to do a lot of things lately. And I kind of want to just sit down and make a video and just talk about it, because I find sometimes if I talk about things, it makes it a lot easier for me. And it's also 3 a.m. or almost 4, and I can't sleep. I'm currently sitting on my bedroom floor, precariously balancing my phone on my bed, and just waiting for a kitty to potentially jump on the bed and knock it down. But in this video, I want to talk about anxiety and change, and just kind of what's been going on with me. I might not go into like really deep detail about certain things, but I do want to talk about just other things that I think are important, you know? So I don't think I've ever actually said, I talk about how I have anxiety, but I don't think I've ever actually said that I have generalized anxiety disorder. I don't think I've actually said that that's actually what I have. And so lately it's been really bad for a couple of reasons. One of those reasons was because I was taking the wrong medication for my thyroid for about a month. It was kind of an off-brand of the levothyroxine, and everybody kept telling me that it's the same thing, there's no reason why it should be making me feel weird. But every time I took it, I would feel like shit, and I would be so tired, and it got to the point where I genuinely felt like I was slowly dying because I couldn't sleep. And if I did sleep, it felt like I only slept for maybe 2 hours. So I genuinely felt like I was dying. I couldn't stand up for long periods of time without feeling like I was gonna collapse. It was like really bad and uncomfortable and just really stressful. And so eventually, after a week, I finally got in contact with my doctor and told her that, like, I don't know if it's connected, but every time I take it, an hour later I get a headache, I get a stomach ache, and I feel exhausted, like I didn't sleep at all. Like, if I would be more tired if I took it than if I didn't take it, because if I forget to take my medication, I'm really exhausted because I don't have the hormone production that I need for that day. But this time, and so like usually after I take the medication and it settles in, I'm not as exhausted. But this time, when I was taking the Euthyrox, I would feel exhausted, like I had a full day and went on a 5K run an hour after I took it. And to me, that just wasn't right. Also, another part of how I know that just my body wasn't agreeing with it is that I usually get my period in the first week of the month. So I should have gotten my period in the first week of, like, within the first week of July. So, like, it should have happened within, like, the last days of June and maybe, like, the beginning of July, and I didn't. I was almost 2 weeks late, which, like, most people that have uteruses would get nervous about that are sexually active, because I am a sexually active person, and I do have a partner. But since I have a hormonal imbalance, it's one of those things where it's like I could be late because of my medication, because of my hormones, or because I'm pregnant, you know. And my periods weren't necessarily that regular anyway, so I've never really been the kind of person that, like, I miss my period for a week or two and get nervous. The only time I'd get nervous is if it had been a whole month or two, and then I'd probably want to take a test or see a doctor. But not like if I'm a week or two, you know, because of that hormonal imbalance. And like literally, I got the actual levothyroxine. So Euthyrox is actually it's kind of like another brand of levothyroxine that's made by a different company, but there are slight, like very minimal differences, and some people are more sensitive to the symptoms than other people. And when I talked to my doctor, she said that on my chart I was responding to levothyroxine, the Synthroid, better than Euthyrox. And so when I started taking the actual levothyroxine on Saturday, I took it Saturday, I took it yesterday on Sunday, and then I literally started my period on Monday. So that kind of tells me that my body wasn't agreeing with the Euthyrox, so that because I got my period literally 2 days after I started taking the one that actually works for my body. So that aside, like, not taking the right medication and being extremely sleep deprived really can fuck with your anxiety and your depression really, really bad. Your cortisol levels go really high. And so it's almost like I wasn't sleeping, so my body couldn't process the stress I was under. So it was just like this Ouroboros of fuckery that my body couldn't handle, and I genuinely felt like I was slowly dying. Like I was not going to be able to take another month, another week, or another couple of days feeling that way. So I had to make an appointment with my doctor for August 23rd, and I'm going to have to get blood taken again. I've had a lot of fluids taken out of my body this year. I don't know what's going on with my body this year. I don't know if it's from just all the stress going on and stuff like that, but I've had so much blood taken this year. It's insane. I mean, granted, with hypothyroidism, it's gonna be a thing for the rest of my life. But that, plus there's been a lot of big changes in my life recently. And something that I've realized and that I've been told is that I don't do well with big change, and it's because I'm a creature of habit. So the reason I'm a creature of habit, and this is mostly theory, is because I know how my habitual rituals are going to occur. So it's like a control thing. Basically, it's like I know what certain things within my day are going to happen. I know how they're going to make me feel, and I know how they're basically going to end. I know what my triggers are within these habitual rituals, and I know what they're not. So I'm going to continue doing these habits, even if I'm extremely uncomfortable doing them, because I can't handle my anxiety getting triggered. So I'm going to keep doing these habitual rituals like a big circle of, again, fuckery, because I would rather not fail and not put myself in a position of fight or flight than try something new and potentially succeed in it. So basically, I have this job, and then I made a video about quitting that job and a new change. And then I ended up getting fired from that job that I left the previous job for, so I went back to the previous job. And I was there from probably September until Saturday, because I quit again. And the reason for that is I am not happy in my life. There were things that happened that really helped me make this decision, that were really awful and put me in a really bad place mentally. And while I have found some peace and clarity because of it, there are certain things that are still just not okay with me. But also, and those things that happened that helped me make this decision have made me realize that I'm just not happy with my life right now. I'm not happy with what I'm doing, where I'm going. And I basically ask myself, you're unhappy and not comfortable. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to continue to be unhappy and uncomfortable because it's uncomfortable because you know how it's going to end, like because it's not going to trigger your anxiety? Or are you going to change it in the attempt of trying to find some semblance of happiness? And so I had to really have a conversation. Like I said, I knew you were going to fall. But I had to really have a conversation with myself about it, because and it's a surprisingly difficult conversation to have with yourself. I have such a hard time admitting when I'm having a hard time. And it's because in my twisted, fucked up mind, when I admit that I'm having a hard time and that something hurt me, I feel like I'm failing. Like, how am I allowing this thing to hurt me so much? How am I allowing that to happen? I'm such a failure as a human because I'm allowing this to happen, when it's like, these are things that happen in normal human life. I was told once that I process failure worse than I process death. So basically, I handle death better than I handle failing at something. And the thing is it's not failure to someone else. It's like, I don't care about really, like, I do care about people's opinions, but I don't care if someone tells me, like, I'm a failure, because then I'm gonna be like, bet, fucking watch me, you know? It's me setting expectations for myself, and when I don't reach them, I feel like the worst piece of shit in the world. And it's such a duality thing in my mind, because, like, there's part of me that's like, you're such a failure, there's no point in being around, you fail at everything, not just work, but friendships, you're failing at living at your apartment, you can't even clean your house, you fail in your current relationship, you're just a failure. I really need to find a different place to put you, because you're probably gonna keep falling. Alright, I'm gonna have to, 1 second. Okay, I'm back. And just, like, it's a really dark part of my mind. And then the other side of my mind that's more logical is, like, these are normal human things that you're going through, and we just need to figure out a way that works for you to get through it. But it's just so hard making those two places meet and find a solution. So literally, I had to sit down with myself, realize that some of the anger and bitterness and emotions from what happened at my previous job, I was holding on to, and I was keeping myself there. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people, or I really think about often, is that sometimes in certain situations, someone can put you in an angry place, but they can't keep you there. So, like, say you're in a relationship and someone makes you angry. They put you in that anger, right? But they can't keep you in that place. The only person that keeps you in that anger is you. Now, I'm sure there's some situations where it's not that, but in some minimal or certain situations, you are the one keeping yourself in that negative mindset. You are the one putting yourself continuously in that cycle of negativity and feeling bitter. And you are the only person that can get you out of that feeling. And for me, I have a really hard time admitting that, and admitting when I'm having a hard time. And so actually sitting down with myself and having this conversation of, like, are you going to continue to stay in this bitter place, or are you going to not be, because you need to make a fucking decision? It's like a conversation slash an argument. And so I decided, I was like, okay, if I don't do something about this now, I'm not going to, because I know myself well enough to know that if I don't make a decision right now, I'm just gonna continue in this awful habitual ritual of bullshit, and just accept the fact that I'm uncomfortable and that I'm not happy, and just accept that, hey, maybe that's where I'm supposed to be. No. So I decided to get a job somewhere that I'm probably not necessarily gonna like, but I might grow to like it. It's only been 2 days. I've only worked there for 2 days. But the plan is to work there at night and go back to school to get my diploma or my GED in the morning, because I didn't graduate high school because I'm an idiot. And, well, high school was actually kind of hard. I wasn't bullied, but there was a lot of other shit that happened that made it difficult. But I do wish that I stayed in school. But I do want to get my GED and my diploma, and I want to take some classes. I want to take some creative writing classes. some business classes, and just kind of go from there, because I feel stuck and I hate where my life is, and I want to try to do something about it. I've talked about wanting to open a business forever, and I've never taken the steps to do that. And it's like, if you want to do something with your life, why not go for it and see what happens? Like, there are no failures in life. There are just ways of learning how to not do something. And I have to continuously tell myself that, because failure for me is not an option, even though it happens. And when it happens, it's dark up in here when it does. But reminding myself that I didn't fail, I just learned a way of not doing something. So the stress of leaving a job that I'm good at, in a world that I'm good at, that I love, and a place that I'm comfortable, and that I basically grew up in. I started working there when I was 22, and I'm 26 now. I lived the better part of my 20s at that job. I basically grew up with that job. And I know because of the job, I wouldn't be who I am now. And so leaving this place of certainty where I know what's going to happen day to day, same routine, I know how to handle myself, leaving that comfortable, quote unquote, bubble to go to a bubble that is brand spanking new, doing something I've never done before, to help myself get to do something that I've also never done before, not knowing how it's going to work out, what's going to happen, if this was the best choice for me, how I'm going to adapt to certain things, is very hard for me. My anxiety does not like it, and depression, my anxiety's best friend, doesn't like it either. So basically, I was told anxiety doesn't like change, because change means the unknown and uncertainty. And when you have anxiety, or at least for me, I can't say this about everybody else, but for my anxiety, not knowing how something's going to turn out is terrifying, because there are going to be whole new triggers out there in this new world that I don't know about. And that scares me. And I'm so lucky to have the support system that I have, and to have people who know me well enough to know when I'm having a really hard time. And I remember telling my boyfriend, because I have been talking about how exhausted I am forever, because I'm a complaining bitch. And my dad was trying to bring over stuff that my grandma wanted to give me, and I slept through every single alarm when he did. And I felt so bad. And he left me a message and said, "It's okay, we can find out a different day. I know you've been having a hard time sleeping." And I remember telling my boyfriend that, and just being like, why is everybody so understanding? I'm getting emotional, but there's a lot of times where I feel alone. And so, and even though I know I'm not alone, sometimes it feels like I am. And so when I have a lot of people around me who are being really supportive and really understanding, I don't understand it. And that's really sad. And a lot of that is because I put myself in that position. Because I know I have such a strong, amazing support system, and people who will cheer me on from the sidelines. And I just feel lucky because there's people out there who don't have that. And actually, I have friends out there who have a very small support system. And so I feel so lucky that I have such a huge support system. And people who are so understanding. And also people who like know me and my anxiety so well, I don't think there are two people in this world that know my anxiety, other than of course myself, but two people externally that know my anxiety, and that's my mom and Danny, my boyfriend. I'm actually starting to think that my boyfriend knows my anxiety better than my mom does, because he can actually recognize when I get triggered before anybody else. So for example, part of the reason I don't drink really at all is because when I drink alcohol, I'll have maybe a few drinks, but if I drink and then my brain starts to realize, like, it's so weird, it's so hard to explain, but so sometimes when I drink alcohol, I'll have this moment where I register that I'm not completely in control of my body, and it'll trigger my anxiety, because sometimes I'll have these moments when I'm sober where I'm just chilling, I'm completely fine, and then I'll feel detached from my body, and I'll feel like I don't belong in my body, and that I just, like, I don't belong in the body that I'm in, and I'll start to feel like I'm floating away from it and out of control of it. It's really hard to explain, and I'm sure there has to be someone out there that understands what I mean, where I think I dissociate. I think it's like a trauma response where I start to feel nervous about something, so I'll feel like I'm detaching from my body, and like I don't belong in it, and that life isn't real and nothing is real and I'm not real, and it'll trigger my anxiety, and alcohol induces that feeling but makes it worse. And so I don't really drink. I rarely drink by myself. If I do, it's like a glass of wine or maybe 2 mixed drinks, you know. I'll drink with people, but usually it's like I'll have a drink or two, you know. I rarely drink to get drunk. You know, sometimes I'll drink to get toasted, but not like drunk. A lot of the times, if I were to drink to get drunk, I prefer to have Danny there, because he recognizes that point when I start to realize, holy shit, I'm not in control of my body, I don't belong in my body, and I start to go down the path of, I start thinking about my anxiety, and then I start thinking about, what if I have a panic attack? I can't have a panic attack when I'm drunk. I don't know what I'm gonna do if I have a panic attack when I'm drunk. I'll literally walk myself into an anxiety attack. And he'll see it, and he'll recognize it, and he'll let me walk away for a second, and then he'll take me aside, and he'll just be with me. It's like really interesting how he'll be drunk too, and then he'll feel a disturbance in the force because he and I are creepily connected, or he'll notice like something change, and it's almost like he sobers up really quickly, like he realizes that I'm in distress, and so he'll sober up and until I kind of balance myself. Because typically when I start to feel anxious and feel anxiety, I'll walk away, because I noticed something that helps. One of the coping things that helps is if I change my location. So I don't know if this is a thing, but if I'm in a room and I start to feel anxiety, I'll walk out of that room into a different room, because for some reason it helps me reassociate or relocate myself. So I don't know if that's an actual thing that happens, if the mind actually does that. But also, I need more space. So I usually, if I'm at a party, I don't usually walk off by myself. Like, I'll walk off to talk to someone else, but I won't, like, walk off by myself. And so that's a good indication, but he can usually, it's almost like he can feel a moment of me starting to freak out. And that's one of those moments where I forget sometimes how bad my anxiety is until I'm in a situation that triggers it fast and hard, and I have to basically go into crash course mode where it's like, okay, I need to do something to help myself feel better now, because if I don't, I'm going into a panic attack. Like, that's just, that's what it's gonna be. Which I can do a video about how I cope with my anxiety and certain things that I do to help with it, if anybody's interested. And some advice is, if you do have really bad anxiety, surround yourself with people who understand it, who are willing to listen. If they're open to educating them about how to help you in that situation, that's awesome. Some people don't have anxiety and don't understand it, and so it's good for you to explain to them kind of what they can do to help you. And also, if you are someone watching this that doesn't have anxiety, then take a minute to educate yourself, you know. But yeah, so I went on a tangent. It's just basically, I love my boyfriend, and I really appreciate the fact that he'll recognize and take a minute and knows what can trigger me, and will listen if I tell him, like, okay, I'm starting to get anxious. He'll, like, help me and try to help me, like, get more comfortable. So this video is going to be really long, but basically a lot of things are changing in my life, and I'm trying to find new ways to help the anxiety with it, because a lot of things that hold me back from change and potential new things that could be good for me is my stress and anxiety. And it's like, it's a gift and a curse, because it's a gift because I know what makes me feel safe. It's a curse because sometimes that fear keeps me from doing things that could potentially make my life better. And the whole goal of me doing what I'm doing now is to find some semblance of happiness and to make myself feel better. And so that's what I'm doing. And I really want it to work out, and so I'm gonna make it work out. And I luckily have people supporting me and being my cheerleaders and really helping me, especially mentally and emotionally. And that's really important to me. So yeah, and this felt a lot more cathartic than I thought it was going to. I should have made this video way before, because I feel a little bit better, and I'm actually starting to get tired. I should probably get some sleep. I do have to go to the store to get kitty litter so they can continue to shit on my money, and just kind of, you know, prepare for the week. I'm hoping eventually I'll get mentally stable enough to actually clean my apartment. Like, I'll clean it, but I want to clean it, and I'm having such a hard time getting myself in the mindset of doing it. So if anybody has any, like, advice on how to get your really unmotivated, depressed, and anxious brain to do something, please tell me, because and also the next coming months are going to be exhausting, fun and exciting, but exhausting, because in August, my boyfriend and I have a wedding to go to, and then I also have to go to that doctor's appointment and get blood taken. In September is a busy month. September, I have my best friend's wedding to go to, and I'm going to Fan X as well, so it's going to be a busy month. And then October, Halloween. November is my birthday, and actually I'm going to do something for it, and then December is Christmas. So from August on, it's going to be busy, 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 so maybe that's a good thing. But yeah, so I'm going to go, maybe make some tea, maybe do some writing, and then chill and watch Star Trek Beyond and just relax. And if anybody has any anxiety advice, let me know. And if anybody would like me to make a video about anxiety, let me know. And yeah, so I'm gonna go. So thank you for joining me in this video. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to, go ahead and subscribe. I don't want to say I'm gonna start making more videos, because every time I do, I don't. So basically, subscribe and hit the notification bell, and you'll be notified if I post. And I hope you have a wonderful day and a beautiful night. And this is Kat signing off. Bye.